Hello, everyone. Elizabeth Johnston here, your story coach for visionary entrepreneurs. So I, I'm doing this live later than my usual time. I'm an, early bird. I like to do things in the morning, and but this is the evening because I was waiting to watch Russell Brunson's launch documentary about his new personal development program. And I'm really glad I did. It was very exciting. And I wanted to share some thoughts with you and some things that are in there. The first thing I have to say is that the reason that I'm so excited about being part of this personal development movement that Russell Brunson is starting is because I love books. Who would think, eh? A writer and story coach would love books. But in the documentary, he's talking about the smell of the old books and the really tactile sensory experience of old books. And I don't know about you, but I love going into libraries. I love the smell of libraries, all those books stuffed full of amazing stories and knowledge and wisdom. It's just so exciting, to be surrounded by this repository of human thought throughout the ages. One of the things that Russell brought up in his documentary was that some of these manuscripts that he bought and collected over the last 5 years are never before seen manuscripts. They were meant for publication, but the publishers didn't want to publish it, or they were original manuscripts that are different from what was eventually published. And Russell tells the story that apparently the some of the big powerhouses of the time blocked some or wanted to have the book censored, Think and Grow Rich, because it was giving away all of the wealthy people's secrets about how they generated their wealth. And so this makes me want to read the original one so badly. I'm wondering, so many people have been positively affected by Think and Grow Rich, and that's in its, censored version. So imagine what the uncensored version would be like. And one of the things that Russell shares in this documentary as well is that previously people could only access these unpublished manuscripts or uncensored manuscripts for a hefty price. And one of the books, actually, you could only access it for $10,000 a day. So you could go in and read the book in the person's location. And that, if you didn't finish the book, well, you have to come back the next day and pay another $10,000. But with this program, with this movement that Russell Brunson is creating, it's not going to be that at all. And he's really democratizing the playing field, leveling the playing field for the rest of the world, people like you and me that don't have $10,000 a day to spend on reading books. And, the fact that Russell has rescued from the annals of history these uncensored books and these, unpublished manuscripts from the big thinkers in professional development, personal development, it's just reminds me of how important it is that we do share our wisdom. I think so many people would be so much better off today if we had a continual stream of sharing knowledge that worked. They say knowledge is power, and that some people who have a scarcity mindset hold on to that knowledge and don't want to share it. They want it for themselves. They think that they'll, get ahead further and, faster if they keep it all to themselves. And maybe they will, but they'll be very lonely in the process. And that African proverb, that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I think that together we can go so much farther as a species, and so much farther, as individuals in all aspects of our life. Years ago, I watched this National Film Board of Canada documentary series, and it was all about. It was about feminism. It was about the unequal balance between the work at home, between husbands and wives and partners, and but in this documentary they traced it all the way back to the witch trials, and then even further back in the past. And it was so interesting, the line that was drawn from thousands of years ago to the present time, and it was a clear delineated line that sought to divest women of their wisdom, as medicine women, as women in their communities that knew which herbs to mix together to create a poultice, for all different kinds of things for the health of the community. But then when medicine became, a thing, and men took over it and were regulating it, the women, the healers that were women in their communities were competition, and they didn't want that. And so in this documentary it suggests that that's one of the reasons for the witch trials. But I mean, I'm not talking about it from that aspect, although I find that endlessly fascinating. What I'm saying is that all of that knowledge that those women had amassed, and that was passed down to them from their mothers and grandmothers and great grandmothers, like that whole line of knowledge about how to keep your family safe, how to keep them healthy, how to keep them happy. All of that was ripped from the hands of women, and it wasn't just the women that suffered; it's the men, it's the whole community that suffered because of this lack of information that was already there, that took hundreds and maybe even thousands of years to develop, and almost in a one fell swoop, just maybe a few decades or something, it was just stopped. And we're seeing more and more of that come back, but it's hard won. And we really have to create our own networks of communication to share that knowledge. And thank goodness for online summits. The online summits are these wonderful opportunities to gather great thinkers, and share the wisdom of what's worked and what hasn't, and how to be more successful in all aspects of your life. So this is what really touches me. This is what really excites me about being part of Russell Brunson's Secrets of Success personal development program, or whatever you want to call it. I'm a writer. I love books, but I love knowledge that emancipates us. I love knowledge that makes us think and grow rich, right? I love knowledge that empowers us, that gives us back a sense of control of our own bodies and minds. I think our culture, our society today suffers a lot from not feeling like we're connected to our own source of healing and wisdom. I mean, we have everything inside of us that we need to survive and thrive, but no one is there to teach us how to do that. And traditionally, you know, as little as 200 years ago, this was something that was commonplace. And and I'm not saying that life 200 or 300 years ago was so much easier. I don't know what life was like back then, but I do know that they had access to vital information that we are only now just rediscovering and realizing that this is our birthright. This is what we need to grow. We need this in order to get to the next level. We need this kind of knowledge in order to step out of the mundane that sometimes our lives become. There's so many things in everyday life, so many demands that we think, oh, this is so important, this is so important. And when at the end of the day, really, probably 80-90% of what most people do every day is not important. And thinkers like Napoleon Hill and the others that Russell Brunson is going to be introducing to us, they part the veil and help us see that there is another reality out there, that there is another way of being that is more in line with our divine self. And they have created a pathway in order to step into that wisdom. And thank goodness that Russell has wrestled this from the darkness, from people's basements. Who knows where these manuscripts were hanging out for all these decades? But thank goodness that they've been collected and now they're going to be shared. And I'm so excited about this. And I just really hope that you join me on this journey as well. I'm going to share the link after this video with anybody who wants it. You just put in success. And like I've said before, you get a box of 3 books for free, including the recently republished Think and Grow Rich, which has a foreword by Russell Brunson, and 2 other thought leader books. And you also get a 30-day access to the membership site, which is where the book clubs happen, right? And so in November, we're going to be starting on the first book in the package that you're going to get, and you only pay for the shipping. And we're going to talk about the book each week. So it's going to be really exciting. It's kind of like an old-fashioned notion, but I just think that reading a book and talking about it with other people is so enlivening, and it harkens back to my university days. I don't know about you, but when I was in university and doing my bachelor's, I loved reading all those books. Sometimes I had to read, 3 or 4 books a week. Most of them were novels, but still, that's a lot of books to be reading every week for my classes. But I loved reading all of that and expanding my mind and opening my eyes and my horizons, just like every time I would read a book and talk about it and discuss it, I just saw the world differently every single time. It just really adds to the sparkle that is all around when you are really deep diving into a book and discussing with others. And when I was in university, we after the class we would go to the pub and have a coffee or a pint of beer and talk about all the ideas. And it was fascinating stuff. So I'm really looking forward to this membership site where we're going to be having a book club and discussions, and it's going to be something. So if you're interested in finding out more about this Secrets of Success program and membership site, and the free gift, of 3 books, recently republished 3 books, plus the 30-day entry into the membership site. And you can cancel at any time. So all you do is pay for the shipping. I hope you join me, because I think it's going to be a wonderful journey, wonderful ride, and I think that we're going to, plug in some of those missing pieces into our life, whether it's personally or professionally. I think it's going to be a really transformative experience, and I can't wait to share it with you. So this is the end of day 6 of my 14-day sprint of going live every single day to talk about things that I think are important to the entrepreneurial journey and the entrepreneurial spirit. And for me, filling up our cup, filling up our mind with like inspirational wisdom. I mean, we all need that as entrepreneurs. So I hope you join me. And so I'm going to be going live every day for 14 days up until my birthday, which is October 28th. And this is basically a gift for me to just keep showing up every single day in my business and talking about what's important to me. So in a way, this is actually an exercise in growing my know, like, and trust factor. So the more that you tune in and listen to my 14-day sprint here, the more you'll get to understand who I am and what I'm all about, what I believe in, and how I operate. And then who knows, maybe you'll want to come into my Facebook group. And then who knows after that, maybe you'll end up in a program with me. And if the first program that you end up in with me is the secrets of success, wow, that would be awesome. Anyway, that's it for today, and I will see you tomorrow. Hope you have a great rest of the day. And if you're interested, post success below on Facebook, or go to my show notes on my podcast and you'll find a link there too. Good night, everyone. See you tomorrow.